Believe it or not, on this muggy set, Spider's back. It's crazy, Spider's back. Whew.
We watch Spiders, CFL's Red Zone.
Hit it!
Spider, Spider, here comes Spider, CFL's Red Zone.
Hit it!
Spider, Spider, here comes Spider, CFL's Red Zone.
Low key.
In the Red Zone.
This messing around. I have no energy. I can't even move my wrists and play this practice a little bit here. I was playing drums actually recently, but I need to practice a lot more. It's so muggy I can't even move. I can't even move my arms. I can't even breathe. It's crazy. I had to shut all the windows down. Close all the windows because I get loud noises coming in on the set. So I want to be, have good audio and pretty good picture quality, better than last time. So I'm back. I was on a rant last time, I'm sorry. And when it comes to the end, I'm trying to, compress it, put everything in and try to get everything in. And then I'm speed talking at the end, and I apologize for that, okay? And forgot to make Ricky Ray too. We're talking about last session about how the one-year contracts have destroyed the CFL, and all the quarterbacks, all the players that can get out of their contract after 1 year, they don't mean nothing. Thanks to Randy Ambrose, who's in bed with the Canadian Players Association, that is destroying our CFL three-down game of football and the CFL, destroying it. In case of point, I went over all the quarterbacks before they had these one-year contracts implemented. But it's all about themselves. They just want to take as much as they can put into the pockets. And by the way, the Canadian players want to go the NFL just as much as American players. So they have the majority vote, by the way, 465 votes. Okay, so they can control the whole thing. And the CFL owners are too weak, and the TSN is just like they don't care. They just want to get programming. They don't care how bad it is. They don't care about all empty seats. It's unbelievable. They don't give a shit about the CFL. They don't even put it on CTV, the Great Cup. That's what they think about the CFL. They're just using the CFL. And they don't even care if it goes out of business. And they're trying to put it hard out of business too, as well. They don't use that overhead cam hardly at all. They start the season, they use it a bit. Look, Glenn Souther, look, you're not a bad guy, but you too, biased Canadian players. You hardly even mention American players. All you do is try to shove the Canadian ratio down their throat when you know it's destroying the CFL. But you're a Canadian ratio player like Randy Ambrose, and that's why you do it. You're too biased. You should be what's the best for the CFL, okay, and the best for the fans. And so it's what you're doing is not growing the league. The Canadian ratio is not growing the CFL. Randy Ambrose is destroying the CFL. He's too political. He has to go. The Canadian ratio has to go. And biased broadcasters too that are only out for the Canadian players. The Canadian ratio shouldn't be there either. Sorry, Glenn Souther, but silence to my rule too. I send it to you as well. Probably what you say, interesting. Oh yeah, what an insult. I've lost a lot of respect for you, I'll tell you, because you have high ego too. Okay, there's not many that don't. Okay, that's why Farlogy, Rob Van Stone, Steve Armitage, and they're in those positions in the sport media involved with the CFL, they are good people. They endorse my CFL Red Zone rule. And by the way, Saskatchewan Roughrider fans too. When I was on their site, put my CFL Red Zone rule, not all of them, but they bashed me and bashed my CFL rule, and they were so cruel to me and my CFL rule so bad that I was going to get the police involved, and I asked them to take it down. They did. I was going to call it, but it was so bad. They were really bullying me, and I'm sure not all the Saskatchewan fans are like that. So in Touchdown Atlantic, in Halifax, so please, I hope you're not all like that. Please respect me. If you see me, if you know about me, Spider, and my Spider CFL Red Zone rule, and have respect. Have respect for me as a creator. Have respect for, by the way, 6 years. I slipped up and said 6 hours is 6 years, but I did put hours a lot in putting that up in Let's Talk CFL, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But 6 years in the creating my CFL Red Zone rule by doing a survey, 3.5 years, 3.5 year survey. You imagine, and on why there's so many so-called Canadians. You know, you have to say that. Only watching NFL football, not even watching their own brand of CFL 3-down football in their own country. That was the question. And from that survey and my findings, what I gathered was way too much kicking in the CFL, and way too many 2-and-outs, and way too many field goals for too many points in the CFL, and which is magnified in the red zone, and which is a real killer, is 2-down football stops in the red zone, resulting in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip-shot field goals. The two biggest killers and turnoffs of CFL 3-down game in my survey were those, and by the way, the Canadian ratio was detested as well. But those two biggest turnoffs and killers of our CFL 3-down game in the red zone, completely wiped, they're completely gone, completely eliminated with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule. Now, how big would that be for our CFL 3-down game of football? It would be huge for our 3-down game of football. And by the way, you allow the best available players to play at every position for entire CFL game, just like all the other professional sports leagues can, including MLS soccer, and you implement my CFL Red Zone rule, then you have a real product to sell. You have a combo. You have a real product to sell, the CFL, and get one of the one-year contracts they need to go, because it's destroying the CFL. You know, you can't have 30, 40 free agents every year leaving teams. You know, you have no continuity. The fans can't even buy a jersey. They're walking away in droves. Look at all the empty seats, and season ticket holders, just like my son walked away. You know, and it's because of Randy Ambrosie, and because of the Canadian ratio, and because of the one-year contracts, and because Randy Ambrosie snowed me in my CFL Red Zone rule, which makes a complete ass, and it wipes out your hash mark rule, by the way, and blows it out of the water, Randy Ambrosie. Your gimmicky little Mickey Mouse little hash mark rule, little minor little alteration tweak that does nothing but make our CFL 3-down game worse. You know, you clown. Anyway, talking about clowns, I want to talk about Let's Talk CFL. Okay, Christopher, not Christopher Cross, no, Christopher Jones. Okay, Christopher Cross, great album. Okay, Grammy, great album. I have that album. But Fly Like the Wind. And that's what my CFL Red Zone will do. Okay, and like Christopher Cross, originally when I first started listening to his Let's Talk CFL, I actually sent him my presentation when it wasn't refined in the finished product of my CFL Red Zone rule. It might have been called Inside the Red Zone rule at that time. Okay, I mean, I worked on it for 6 years. I worked at 5.5 years to finally complete the final finished product. But he said, "Oh, you should put it on." I didn't even know how to even do that at that time. Put it on my site, Let's Talk CFL Facebook page site. Well, did he change his tune when someone put it up in Let's Talk Atlantic Schooners, because all the bullies on there too. I mean, stay away from me at Touchdown Atlantic. I only want to meet good people that have respect, okay, for me and my CFL Red Zone. The rest of you stay away from me, okay? There'll be police around too, so stay away from me, all right? Like you bastards, you haters, you jealous people, you awful people, fight amongst yourselves. Stay away from me, and I just want to meet the decent people, like people I met at the Grey Cup in Calgary. Okay, those Eskimo young generation fans. This is SPYDER. They were blown away by my CFL Red Zone rule, and that's what they said. SPYDER, how are you going to get that out there? And I'll talk about that in a minute. How I have to do this. But getting back to Christopher Jones, right? Christopher Jones, and then he bullied me on the Let's Talk Atlantic Schooner site saying, oh, and his gang that goes on his podcast, and saying, oh, it's 4-down football and all this, nonsense. How idiotic is that? Okay, I think everybody knows what 4-down football is. I think everybody knows what a down is, okay? And my CFL Red Zone rule, okay, if the third down's needed, they're playing exciting CFL 3-down football in the red zone to score a touchdown, okay, because it's an enforcement rule. That's not 4-down football. And he might have meant, but I know he didn't read my everything about my CFL red zone rule. I know he didn't know anything about it. Make an idiotic comment like that. He might have been referring to my CFL red zone kick, okay? And what my CFL red zone kick does, and it's rewarded, and it should be, because in the red zone, CFL teams on third down, because my CFL red zone rule is an enforcement rule, have to go for it in third down if needed to score a touchdown in the red zone. And everybody knows what an enforcement rule is, okay? All right? Okay, in overtime, the CFL has an enforcement rule. If they score a touchdown, they got to go for a 2-point convert, right? Okay? My CFL red zone rule is an enforcement rule too, but it's taken to a much higher level, okay? And creating a lot more drama and excitement and a lot more entertainment than a 2-point convert enforcement rule. Let me tell you. But anyway, getting back to my CFL red zone kick, and what it's rewarded if a CFL team on third down, playing my CFL red zone rule, stop in the red zone, maintaining possession of the ball, and don't turn the ball over in the red zone, and aren't forced outside the red zone on third down if they're stopped, and they don't score a touchdown with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule, okay, in the red zone. So they get rewarded my SPYDER's CFL red zone kick. From the 35, you add the 7. From the 42, a real challenging kick, by the way. And by the way, you can't fake it and go for it. Why would you want to fake and go for it with the 42 to score a touch? Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous. It's so idiotic to think it's 4 downs. It's not 4 downs. How is it 4 downs? Okay, it's an enforcement rule too. They have to kick it from the 42. They have to kick my SPYDER CFL red zone kick. They have to kick it. It's an enforcement rule, just like my CFL red zone rule is an enforcement rule in the red zone. Okay, and by the way, a down, we all know what a down is, right? Okay, it's not an enforcement rule. Okay, a down is when you can, okay, you can hand the ball off to run it, you can pass it, you can toss it behind the line of scrimmage, right? You can behind the line of scrimmage, throw it to a player, and he can throw it downfield behind the line of scrimmage for a touchdown. Of course, you can kick the ball. You can, that's a down and more. That's what you can do, okay, on a down, okay? My CFL red zone rule kick is an enforcement rule. They have to kick if rewarded. If they maintain possession of the ball on third down, if needed in the red zone, playing with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule, and don't turn the ball over and aren't forced outside the red zone, they get rewarded with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule kick. And that's not 4 downs, okay? It's an enforcement rule. They have to kick it from the 42-yard line for 3 points, okay, which is a challenging kick. And the reason I come up with that, which is a compliment feature, by the way, and compatible, and really solidifies it, really brings my CFL red zone rule home, is because, like I explained, on a field that's 48% larger than the NFL field, 65 wide, NFL is 53 wide, ours is 110, theirs is 100, ours is 20 in the end zones, theirs is 10 in the end zone. So 48% larger, do the math. If you're marching downfield, basically playing 2-down football, okay, in the CFL, they get in the red zone, and my SPYDER CFL red zone rule is implemented into our CFL 3-down game, which it deserves to be, by the way. Like, if you come up short, where it's enforcement rule, and you maintain possession of the ball, and you don't turn it over on third down, and you're not forced outside the red zone on third down, okay, you get SPYDER CFL red zone rule kick, okay, from the 35, add the 7 from the 42. Which adds a lot more drama actually to my CFL red zone rule. Listen, it creates an invigorating plot, okay, in the red zone, not only offensively but defensively, and just an unbelievable amount of drama and so much excitement, and it's super entertaining, really. And the bets, like I said in my first session, I mean, the big bet would be on third down, are they going to score a touchdown with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule? Whether they are or they not, that would be a big bet. The second bet would be whether or not they're going to be stopped. Bet that they're going to be stopped in third down, okay? Or bet they're going to turn the ball over in third down with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule. Or bet they're going to be pushed outside, even a bigger bet, outside the red zone third down with SPYDER's CFL red zone rule. So they don't get rewarded SPYDER's CFL red zone rule kick from the 42, okay, for 3 points. These are huge bets. Even the CFL red zone rule kick from the 42 could be a bet. not as big a bet, but a smaller bet. But look, the excitement and the drama and the entertainment value in the red zone, my CFL red zone rule is overwhelming, and it hits a home run. It's a game changer. And it's a natural, and it's perfectly tailor-made for CFL 3-down football that's staring the CFL right in the eye, seriously, just waiting to be adopted. So, Christopher Jones, how idiotic. I mean, a 5-year-old would know that my CFL red zone rule is not 4 downs. Or my CFL red zone rule kick is not 4 downs. And by the way, if you really believe it is, then why didn't Fire and Logie, who endorsed my rule, say that? Or why didn't Rob Vanstone, who endorsed my rule, who said they couldn't have written a better script to CFL to prove why my CFL red zone rule deserves to be made part of a CFL 3-down game in the 2021 season, and in the CFL playoffs and the Grey Cup game in Hamilton, 100th Grey Cup game in Hamilton, where they were on the 2-yard line and the fans were booing and they didn't go for it. And like, that's why Rob Vanstone said what he did, endorsing my rule. Steve Armitage was blown away, fascinated by my rule. And he said the CFL has to realize, and Stamped approved it. This man has done 27 Grey Cups. He's a legend, Canadian sports legend, icon. And so is Rob Vanstone. And Fire and Logie is a very popular TSN reporter / CFL broadcaster. And he said if it came to a vote, he would vote to have my CFL red zone rule made part of a CFL 3-down game. A football. Christopher Jones, you calling them all idiots? Because they never said my CFL rule was 4 downs, and nobody that I did the survey and exposed my rule that were blown away and captured by my rule and really sold my rule, not one person said that. The St. Mary's quarterback that I just recently surveyed on my CFL red zone rule, he never said that at all. Because hey, these are Christopher Jones and your gang. It's just, and the ones that were on the Ryderville site that were trying to bash me my rule and bully me. You're the same way. You're a bunch of bullies. You're a bunch of bashers. You're haters. You're so jealous. You're so jealous people. You probably do the same to your neighbors. Like, why don't you just have your own little colony, okay, and beat up on each other. Stay away from good people. By the way, all the empty seats in the CFL, and there are an abundance of them all over the CFL and in the Saskatchewan Roughrider Stadium too. Half empty or more. Okay, those are the people that have to know my CFL red zone rule. Those are the people that have to know about my CFL red zone rule. All the younger generation sports fans, all the CFL former fans that the CFL lost, all those fans that could be CFL fans again. Okay, decent CFL fans that have some decency, respect for me, that would have respect for me, my CFL red zone rule. Okay. And all the NFL only fans that only watch the NFL don't even watch the CFL because of the Canadian ratio, because they don't allow the best available players to play in the CFL, and because of the 1-year contracts. Okay, that's why there's so many empty seats. But those are the people who have to know about my CFL red zone rule, and all those people, if they knew about my CFL red zone rule, would be filling all the empty seats in the CFL, and all the CFL stadiums would be full and packed, and all CFL stadiums would soar and roar with my SPYDER CFL red zone rule made part of a CFL 3-down game, and they would soar and roar in the red zone every time a CFL team get in the red zone and play with my super exciting, nationally tailor-made for CFL 3-down football SPYDER CFL red zone rule. And the drama and excitement and the entertainment value in the red zone would be off the wall. Unbelievable what it would do, and the buzz and the excitement it would create. The tremendous amount of excitement and buzz it would create around CFL 3-down football like never before. It would be phenomenal. And those are the real facts. And that's why they're trying to suppress my CFL red zone rule. That's why Randy Ambrosie and that Christopher Jones, those clowns, they're jealous, they're haters, they didn't come up with themselves, okay? Or it'd be a different story. And same with Randy Ambrosie in the CFL. It's not their baby. And Steve Armitage has told me, okay? He told me that SPYDER, there's only one possible way that my CFL red zone rule is not adopted and made part of a CFL game of football. Because, you know what he said? It sells itself. He said there's so much overwhelming evidence. Just your 10 key super features and benefits, all your stunning data and numbers, your 18%, your powerful 18% guarantee of 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone at a 54.8% average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for a regular CFL season. 18% increase in touchdowns scored in the red zone with my SPYDER CFL red zone rule at that average percentage, equaling 50 more touchdowns for 200 points. More points if you take the spread between an easy chip shot field goal and a touchdown, which is 4 points. Okay, multiply it by 50, you got 200 points. That's it in a nutshell. And that's the problem. They know it blows their hash mark gimmicky rule out like Mickey Mouse little gimmicky little minor alteration tweak hash mark rule out of the water. And Randy Ambrosie in the CFL. And there's a lot of ego, and on the CFL Rules Committee, there's so much ego, and it's because it's not their baby, and because they didn't come up with it themselves, and because of jealousy, they slam it, and they block it, and they silence it, and I couldn't put it up in CFL News Twitter, and I couldn't put it up in Let's Talk CFL. I want me to put it up anyway, anywheres, but I here's the solution. Here's what I need, and Steve Arms told me this. This is what I need. This is what it needs to happen. And before this happens, then it's going to be hard, but I will try my best to touch down Atlantic with my Banshee to promote it as much as I can. Wouldn't it be something if we could just get a portion, and I'm going to try to get my CFL Red Zone Roll hat on camera. You know, anything, my dress up stuff will come in time. Okay, it'll be tight, but hopefully my jersey will be here. My SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll jersey for Touchdown Atlantic. But it wouldn't be unbelievable if you get a portion, okay, that you could hear it in Touchdown Atlantic. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll when they witness another boring 2-down football stop in the red zone, and resulting in more boring, distasteful, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals. The two biggest turnoffs and killers of a CFL 3-down game completely eliminated with my SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll. Wouldn't it be something if they, in that scenario, they started chanting, "We want a SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll," and you could hear it on camera, okay, at Touchdown Atlantic on TSN. Wouldn't that be something? But here's what has to happen for that really to happen, and for for a huge amount, thousands of people to be chanting, "We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll" at a CFL game live. Here's what has to happen. Steve Arms told me this is what it needs to take. All I need is one person, like a Farr Logie or Rob Benson. I know their hands are tied because they make money on the CFL. And Randy Ambrosie, I'm sure they got them gagged too. They got them all gagged. That's what's happening. And that's why I can't post it anywheres, okay? But it just takes one person that got to say, "Screw you, Ambrosie, screw you, CFL. This rule needs to get out there, and it needs to be exposed nationally, and I'm going to do it." And it needs someone that's a prominent sports figure to do it, and then when it's exposed nationally, then it'll get out there. Then they can't silence it. And then, at a CFL game live, okay, when another boring, repetitive 2-down football stop happens okay, because they won't go for it on the 2-yard line, 4, 3 or 5, 10, 15, up to the 20 in the red zone. Only when they're on the 1-yard line that they go for it in the CFL. Majority of the times they score a touchdown on 3rd down, resulting in another boring, predictable, distasteful, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal in the red zone or slightly outside the red zone, depending on where the 2nd down stop was made. And when you're hearing loud booing, you know, booing because they're not going for it in 3rd down, they're kicking another easy chip shot, boring, easy, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal, and that's where, okay, that has to change out. Okay, rather than those loud boos, that has to be replaced with loud chanting. "We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll." Can you imagine if there were thousands and thousands of fans chanting, "We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Roll" live, okay, at a CFL game live in the red zone when this nonsense is going on, okay? It would be unbelievable. What are they going to do? Turn the cameras off then, TSN? What are you going to do then, Randy Ambrosie? You're going to be exposed for what you did to me in my CFL Red Zone Roll, okay? You're bad news. You're bad news. You're silencing freedom of speech. You're silencing my role, and you're silencing myself as a creator of my Spider CFL Red Zone role, and you're suppressing my role and blocking my CFL Red Zone role for being posted and exposed. But I'm going to be working on that sports, okay, prominent sports figure. I'm going to be working hard on that, okay? I'm going to have my radio blitz too, that I'm going to try to get on certain radio stations with, okay? I'm going to try to get on to a radio station locally in Halifax before touchdown land and try to get it out there, get it exposed more. And if anybody's listening, right around when people are coming in for touchdown landing from Toronto. By the way, Toronto fans are way different, I can guarantee you. Because I give Pinball Clemens like 3 of my brochures, like this, 3 of my Spider CFL Red Zone brochures, and he was so polite and so thankful and respectful towards me, my CFL Red Zone role, and he said he wanted 3 of them because he was going to give them out to his management team. And by the way, I'm gonna give brochures out to Toronto Argonaut players and to Saskatchewan Rough Rider players, okay, and to coaches, hopefully, GMs, okay, and to some media. I'm going to be selective who I pick, okay, but I need some sports figure in me that's going to come forth with my Spider CFL Red Zone rule and to be really sold on it and to want to expose it nationally, get it out there, to have it made part of a CFL 3-down game of football, which it deserves, by the way. And that will put a spotlight and put a real signature on our 3rd down on our CFL 3-down game of football, okay? All right, that's naturally tailor-made for CFL 3-down football. And it will be the biggest rule ever adopted by the CFL, and the most innovative, and the most powerful, and the most impactful, and the most significant new rule ever adopted and made part of our CFL 3-down game that's full of drama and full of excitement and entertainment that will make CFL stadiums throughout the CFL soar and roar with Spider CFL Red Zone rule. That's a winner and a game changer. Spider, Spider, here comes Spider CFL Red Zone rule. Next session I'll talk about the stadium issue. Halifax Wanderers are talking about, they're 2 months away. They're probably going to get their 10,000 little Mickey Mouse stadium, and the CFL will be going to Quebec City.